up on the Rumble. And good morning, hello, welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened today throughout the annals of recorded history, starting with December 16th. What do we have on this fantabulosa day? Starting in the year 533.
Let's see here. Hold on. Pulling up here.
Okay.
What?
533?
There we go.
Okay.
The digest is published. Codifies the work of classical jurists commissioned by Eastern Roman Emperor Justinian.
I'm wondering if it means, like, jurors, like we know jurors today, like in a court of law, if it's talking about, like, legal stuff, I wonder what the digest is. You know
Classical jurist? Let's look that word up, jurist. I don't think it's for jury.
533, the digest. Let's see here. Digest, Roman law. Okay. We're getting onto something. Yeah. Also known as the Pandex, was a compendium or digest of juristic writings on Roman law compiled by order of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I. It is divided into 50 books. So once again, juristic
writings.
Right, so I think,
look up juristic writings.
Juristic writings. Juristic writings is a source of law. Okay. Well, let's pluralize this. Sources of international law. International law, also known as law of nations, refers to the body of rules which regulate the conduct of sovereign states and their relations with one another. Sources of international law include treaties, international customs, general widely recognized principles of law, the decisions of national and lower courts, so on and so forth. So, we're not going to get an exact, whatever you're trying to find. I don't think we're going to find, in the allotted time we have. But it's involving law, so we figured that out much.
Yeah.
Let's move on up here.
653, 8th Council of Toledo begins at Praetorian Church of the Saints Peter and Paul in Toledo will issue the Liber Luterorum, a 12-book law code under this Goth king Rhesus Winth.
Reese's Winth. What is this, a peanut butter cup thing? You got chocolate in my Reese's. But yeah, we have more legal stuff here. That's pretty interesting. Moving on up off of main source here, 1714. Pepin of Herstal, mayor of the Merovingian Palace, died at Jupil, which is modern-day Belgium. He was succeeded by his infant grandson, Theodulad, while his widow, Plectrude, held actual power in the Frankish kingdom. 1431, during the Hundred Years' War, King Henry VI of England, aged 7, was crowned King of France at Notre Dame, Paris, becoming the only English monarch to wear both crowns of England and France. So that's pretty interesting, right there. 1497, Vasco da Gama passed the Great Fish River at the southern tip of Africa, where Bartolomeu Dias had previously turned back to Portugal. And as it says from the main source here, Portuguese navigator Vasco da Gama was the first European to sail along Africa's east coast and named it Natal. So anyone who's in Natal, this is when your area got named. That's pretty cool. Let's move on up here to 1577. Pass it back to Sir King. Actually, I'll take this one. He's cleaning his glasses now. Danzig rebellion ended in a compromise between the city's nobility and Polish King Stephen Bathory after the king restored and recognized the city's economic and religious privileges. All right. 1598, during the Seven-Year War, the Battle of Noryang became the final battle of this war, being fought between China and the Korean Allied forces and Japanese natives, resulting in decisive Allied forces victory. All right. 1620, Miles Standish and a group of 18 settlers are confronted by 30 Native Americans, which became known as the First Encounter. So, this is the first documented encounter of when the white settlers interacted with well, this can't be right. Well, I guess for these people with Plymouth, yeah. So the northern areas. Because we all know 1492, Christopher sailed the ocean blue, and he found the Indians. So, 1631. Good Sir King, you want to take this one?
1631, Mount Vesuvius in Italy erupts, burying many villages under the lava flows and killing around 3,000 people.
Wow. So there's been multiple eruptions of Vesuvius. I wonder what year was it that caused Vesuvius to become, infamous and bury Pompeii and all that whatnot. 1689.
1689, English Parliament passes the Bill of Rights, establishing limit on crown powers and requirement for regular election.
Good. That's really good. Oh, we got another volcano here. This is pretty cool.
1707, last recorded eruption of Mount Fuji in Japan.
Ooh. All right. So, in Fuji, I think it's dormant or sleeping. I'm not sure, but hasn't it stirred recently in the past decade or so? I swear I heard something about that. Oh. And here we go, big event.
History. The Boston Tea Party, 1773 Boston Tea Party incident. Sons of Liberty protesters throw tea shipments into the Boston Harbor and protest against British proposed tea act.
Yep. And to elaborate on that, the article, this same event from the other source here, during the American Revolution, the Boston Tea Party took place, in which members of the Sons of Liberty, disguised as Mohawk Indians, dumped hundreds of crates of tea into the Boston Harbor as a protest against the Tea Act. So yeah, they dressed as Native Americans, so that way the natives get the flack. So that's kind of not cool right there. So, but moving on up into 1775, what else do we got? Okay.
1775, Englishman Richard Arkwright receives a patent for his carding machine to use in cotton.
Yeah, I looked up a picture of that. It's just this weird machine that I couldn't really, figure things out about. And I forgot. Let's try to catch up with the picture. So this is the first encounter that we covered earlier today. What is this? That's Vesuvius erupting right there. Here's the Boston Tea Party. And okay, now we're caught up. We'll catch up to that here in a minute. 1782, off of main source. British East India Company, Muharram Rebellion, Hada and Mada Mia led the first anti-British uprising in the subcontinent against Robert Lindsay and his contingents in Sylhet Sali Ediga. Robert Lindsay, Murray. Oh my God, you're right.
I started laughing. To myself about like.
No, they just red-faced. Oh, yikes. 1826, what do we got?
1826, Benjamin W. Edward rides into Mexico-controlled Nacogdoches, Texas, and declared himself ruler of the Republic of Fredonia.
Yep, and that's what this image is here. This is Fredonia, so this reddish thing, I'm not sure if you can see the word that well, but right in the middle here, this reddish section that looks like I don't know, the entire intestinary tract. It looks like an intestine. So, yeah, that's the landmass he was laying claim to. Moving on up, 1835, Uno Mas.
1835, fire consumed over 600 buildings in New York City.
Wow.
Wow, that's not, yeah. Big fire. Big fire.
Yeah, it is. 1850, ships of the Charlotte Jane and the Randolph, or the ships, the Charlotte Jane and the Randolph, brought the first of the Canterbury Pilgrims to Lyttelton in New Zealand. All right. 1859, Frederiksborg Castle, the largest Renaissance complex in Scandinavia, was badly damaged in a fire, but it was later restored and turned into a museum. So that's pretty cool right there. Moving on up, 1880, the first Boer War between the Boer South African Republic and the British Empire began. So we've spoken about the Second Boer War at the turn of the century, 1901 or something. But we were always wondering, like, when was the first Boer War? Well, finally we get an answer. This is when it first started, all the way back in 1880. But 2 years later, off of main source, 1882, Wales and England contested the first home nations, known today as Six Nations, rugby union match. So, rugby stuff. That's pretty cool. 1883, during the Tonkin Campaign, French forces captured the Son Tay Citadel in Hanoi. All right. 1884, back to Good Sir King. King talking about a king. What do we got here?
1884, Great Britain recognizes King Leopold II's Congo Free State.
Yep, and we've spoken about that Congo Free State before. You remember that that humanitarian effort that was actually a giant masquerade to take advantage of the locals, and it was all like rubber, right? It was like
the rubber thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put the wrong dude in charge of that, man.
Well, Great Britain either was in on it or they were ignorant about it. So, but Leopold II, man, that guy was a monster. 1897. Ooh, this is an eyebrow raiser here.
1897, first submarine with an internal combustion engine demonstrated.
Ah, propulsion.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm not sure. No, we do not have a picture of it. But like this is a map of the First Boer War. So we the British Empire is the orange, as you can see. They're pretty big. And then we have the Transvaal Republic and Orange Free State. So I believe those were the Boers. Oh. And then the next picture is going to be the Great White Fleet, but we'll get to that in due time. Moving on up into the next century, 1903, Majestic Theater in New York City became the first in the U.S. to employ women ushers. Well, look at that. Can you imagine, like, in 1903, like, you're in a theater, and a woman usher comes up to you, and they're like, hey, you have to leave. Just like, excuse me? Yeah, no, today you have to pay attention to them, but back then, things were a lot different. That's when, things were changing for the better, though. 1903 as well, the Taj Mahal Palace and Tower Hotel opened its doors to guests for the first time in Bombay, British India. Now, this is not the actual Taj Mahal. This is a hotel, because I looked this up, and this is actually what it looked like. So, this is the Taj Mahal Hotel and Tower. As soon as the picture decides to load, there we go. Still looks pretty cool, right on the riverfront. Like, it
looks nice.
It almost looks like how the Luxor in Vegas it's the pyramid, but then they have like all those towers they built afterwards for additional rooms. It almost looks like this is the first building, and then they added that tower there just to add more rooms. And I think that was the case here, because older pictures only show the main building. So, moving on up, what do we got in 1905?
1905, Variety, covering all phases of show business, first published.
All right, so that's a magazine, right? The Variety magazine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and here we go. This is our thumbnail right here, our Great White Fleet. What do we got?
1907, as a gesture of the U.S.'s new presence as a world power, President Theodore Roosevelt sends the Great White Fleet on a round-the-world cruise, visiting ports internationally.
Yep. The Great White Fleet, of course, is a giant fleet of warships, but they're all painted white, because, so that way they're easily noticeable. They're not going out to do combat, but as it said, it's a show of force. It's the country, it's the United States of America flexing its muscles internationally, being like, yo, look at what we can do. So
it's out there.
Moving on up to 1907, what else do we have?
1907, Eugenia Farrar is the first to sing over a wireless radio broadcast at the Brooklyn Navy Yard in New York.
All right. Well, the first singing over wireless. That's pretty cool. 1908, we have the first credit union in the United States formed in Manchester, New Hampshire. Boo! Boo! Can you imagine this country was at $35 trillion in debt and they have the audacity to give you a credit score? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. 1911, the UK National Insurance Act became law, providing health insurance for industrial workers, which is about a third of the workforce. Well, that's good if they pay out, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, you know, wasn't there like an insurance something happening recently, or happened, you know, not too long ago? Something involving insurance, you know? 1912, the first U.S. postage stamp picturing an airplane, 20-cent partial post, was issued. Yeah, let's move on from the Great White Fleet, and that's the stamp right there, depicting, you know, the Wright Flyer. Aeroplane carrying mail. Cool. Moving on up, yeah, we will be talking about Charlie Chaplin in a little bit. Actually, we're going to be talking about him right now, if you want to take it.
1913, Charlie Chaplin begins his first film career as Keystone for $150 per week.
Damn!
Whoa! That's some money.
$150 in 1913. Hold on a second. 150, 1913 to 2024. Let's do an inflation calculator. Oh, do you want to do a guess?
150, 1913, so
101 years. 121 years. No, 111 years. I can't math.
at least 100 grand, I would say.
All right, let's move on up. $4,780.20 today.
Oh.
Well, still, $4,000 a week. That's actually really good.
That's nice. Yeah.
Actually, just over 3/4, so almost $5,000 a week. That's really good. Damn, he was making money. Woo! Yeah, this is the movie poster for it. Chaplin at Keystone. So, unfortunate mustache though. You know, some Austrian painter had to ruin that for all of time. So yeah. Moving on up to 1914, during the First World War, Admiral Franz von Hipper commanded a raid on Scarborough, Hartlepool, and Whitby. And from here it says German warships fired more than 500 shells on northern English towns of Scarborough, Whitby, and Hartlepool. This is the first time English civilians were targeted during this war, killing 137 people. Wow. So the war came home. 1918, German troops evacuated Finland, gave over Kiev to the Ukraine to revolutionary forces, and pulled back from Estonia as Bolshevik forces moved in. So that's Vladimir Lenin's communist revolution. They're going in and they're taking everything for Soviet Union right there. We got Dempsey versus Morris, 1918. Jack Dempsey knocks out Carl Morris in 14 seconds. 14 seconds. Wow. Like, Mama said knock you out. And Mama ain't no liar. Moving on up, 1920. What do we got here?
1920, 8.5 earthquake rocks the Gansu province in China, killing an estimated 200,000 people.
Wow. That's a lot of people. And 1 century ago, what do we have here?
Hiram Bingham is elected as a Republican to serve the U.S. Senate, forcing him to resign as governor of Connecticut after serving only 1 day in office, the shortest term of any Connecticut governor. Wow.
So I guess they Connecticut cut him from the team.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some baseball stuff here in 1926.
1926, MLB owners renewed contract with Commissioner Kinsha Mountain Landis for a second 7-year term.
Dude, who the hell gives their child the middle name of Mountain? Like, are you seriously so starved for inspiration? You're just looking around. It's like, oh, he needs a middle name. Okay. Well, let's see here. The battery, no. Let's see here. A lighter, no. Statuette of radar, no. Mountain, yeah, Mountain. Let's name him Mountain, because that makes sense. 1927, Australian cricket's batting maestro John Bradman made his first-class debut for New South Wales versus South Australia at the Adelaide Oval, finishing day 1 on 65 not out. No idea what the hell any of that meant, but, this guy, he's a cricket legend, and I have to recognize greatness even though I don't understand it. 1930, golfer Bobby Jones was the first to win the James E. Sullivan Award, the best U.S. amateur athlete. All right. 1 year later, 1931, German SPD began Iron Front against fascism. Too bad they didn't succeed, but hey, they were trying. So, a lot of people, they look back at history and, they think of, Nazi Germany and how easily everybody was swept up in all the crap. It's like, no, there were resistance, you gotta dig a little deep to find it, but, not everybody just fell in line, as people believe. So, 1937, what else do we got here?
1937, Theodore Cole and Ralph Rowe attempt to escape from American federal prison Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay. Neither is ever seen again.
Yep, and I have right here, this is a picture, this is a newspaper clipping right here. 2 prisoners free from Alcatraz, pair believed dead after plunge in the bay. So, yeah. And just a quick question, do you recognize this man by his forehead alone?
Adolf Hitler?
Yeah. But we're going to skip over that. We're going to move on up into this one here.
1938, State of California executes Ed Davis, 38, leader of the Folsom Prison escape attempt, resulting in murder of warden and guard in Quentin State Prison in Marin County.
Yeah, San Quentin, very notorious prison. Been around for a while. You've heard of Sing Sing. You heard of Alcatraz. Well, San Quentin. It's as soon as a lot of criminals, they burst into tears as soon as they hear that word, as they know they're screwed. 2 years later, 1942, off a main source, during the Holocaust, Schutzstaffel Chief Heinrich Himmler ordered that Roma candidates for extermination be deported to Auschwitz. Yikes. 1944, during World War II, the Battle of the Bulge began with the surprise offensive of 3 German armies through the Ardennes forest. Yes, the Battle of the Bulge, the last swing of Nazi Germany trying to break out of their encirclement, and it wasn't too successful, thank goodness. 1946, French fashion designer Christian Dior and his backer Marcel Boussac found the fashion house Christian Dior. Yeah. 1946, Thailand joined the United Nations, formerly Siam. And then 1949, we have Svenska Aeroplane Aktiebolaget, later known as Saab, was founded in Sweden. So, very much like a lot of, like Mitsubishi, was created the Zeros for Japan, right? Mitsubishi is Japan, I think. I know.
So.
I know.
Toyota.
Yeah. But anyway, we all know about Saab, SAAB. So, but they were there's a good 2-3 other automobile companies that got their start as airplane manufacturing companies. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mercedes-Benz, right? Or not Mercedes-Benz. What's no, what? Is it Mercedes-Benz?
Italian. I think Mercedes is Italian, isn't it?
Maybe.
Italy.
What's What's the one? Hold on a second. You know, let me Mercedes-Benz logo. Let's see here, because there's one logo. No, it's not this one. Maybe they were as well, but there's one. There's one logo, like it's a circle, and like it's cut into quarters. It has like white, blue, and that's supposed to represent like propellers, like the actual logo. Oh well. I don't remember the exact car company. I'm looking to see if we have any comments. If anybody can tell me if they know. That's a Jacob Pete's question. You know, he'd be the person to answer that if anybody would. Moving on up, what do we have here in 1950?
Child star Shirley Temple announces her retirement from films at age 22.
Wow, it must be nice to retire at that age.
All right.
Yeah, could you imagine a time back when people actually didn't have to work their entire lives? So that's nice.
They had to have 2 incomes.
Yeah.
To survive.
Yeah. What else do we got?
1950, U.S. President Harry Truman proclaimed state of emergency against communist imperialism.
Dun dun dun. I can't. Oh, it's BMW. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. This was bugging me. Like I needed to figure this out. BMW is what I'm talking about. So like so you see how like it's in 4 quarters, the white and the blue.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember how propellers look, like if you've ever like looked at a propeller and as it's spinning, and then it starts just like kind of doing that weird thing, that's what the logo's supposed to look like.
Ah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's still.
No, when it's spinning, like when a propeller's spinning, but then like it doesn't look like it's spinning because of like.
Yeah.
So that's what it's supposed to look like, a propeller that's spinning. So. Like the blue being, the motion blur, and the white being the open air, something like that. So, I had to look that up. It was really bothering me. Moving on up, what else do we got here? 1960. Where is it? Oh wow. Okay. Well, here we go.
1960, TWA 266 and United 826 collide over Staten Island, killing 134 people.
Yep. From our other source here, it says United Airlines Douglas DC-8 and a TWA Lockheed Super Constellation collided over Staten Island, New York, and crashed, killing all 128 people on board both aircraft and an additional 6 people on the ground, which adds up to 134. So, 1962, big movie. I've yet to see this one. Shame on me for being a historian, not seeing this movie yet.
1962, Lawrence of Arabia film, directed by David Lean and starring Peter O'Toole, is released in the United States.
Yep. Lawrence of Arabia, very pivotal in fighting the Ottoman Empire in the desert. 1962 as well.
Nepal establishes its constitution, becomes a constitutional Hindu monarchy.
All right. And I'll let you take this, since you're more into entertainment and stuff than I am. This is a big name.
1966, Jimi Hendrix Experience releases its first single, Hey Joe, in the UK.
They grossly mislabeled that. It's not just an experience, it's a phenomenon. So... 1967, Wilt Chamberlain of the NBA Philadelphia 76ers scored 68 points versus Chicago. Wow. Another 8 more and he would have literally had the team in his score. 68-76. 1968, musical fantasy film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, co-written by Roald Dahl and director Ken Hughes, starring Dick Van Dyke and Sally Ann Hose, with songs by Sherman and Sherman, premiered at the Woden Leicester Square Theatre in London. That's another movie I have yet to watch.
You ever watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
How is this surprising to you? I am as uncultured as it gets, brother.
Chitty chitty bang bang, chitty bang bang.
Moving on up, 1968 as well, the Second Vatican Council of official revocation of the Edict of Expulsion from Jews from Spain, and we have it right here. So, I remember talking about this a while ago. Jews were expelled from Spain, and it would be like a couple hundred years before they were allowed to come back in and all that stuff. Is your dog trying to steal your headphones? Does it want to be on the show?
Yeah. She just wants it in.
Yep. 1969, British House of Commons voted 343 to 185 to abolish the death penalty. I'm not sure about that. Like, some criminals do need to go. So, moving on up into 1971, during the Bangladesh Liberation War and the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971, the surrender of the Pakistan Army brought an end to both these conflicts. Commemorated annually since as Victory Day in Bangladesh and India, respectively. All right. Off of main source here in 1971 as well, the United Kingdom recognized Bahrain's independence, which has since been commemorated annually as Bahrain's National Day. And I'm not sure if I spoke about this, but a while ago I remember I was talking about some Middle Eastern city that I forgot the name of that contained phlegm in the name. That's the city. It's Bahrain. So... moving on up to 1972, what do we got here? Actually,
Bangladesh Constitution goes into effect. All right.
Yeah.
1972, Miami Dolphins become the first undefeated NFL team. 14-0.
Yeah, that's
very nice.
I'm gonna give them a cheer for that first undefeated team. That is incredible. Oh, and here we go.
1973, O.J. Simpson becomes first NFL running back to rush for 2,000 yards in a season.
Wow. Off the main source here, 73 as well. Aeroflot Flight 2022 crashed into the Soviet Union's Volokholamsky district, killing all 51 aboard, including 4 Lithuanian doctors. Yikes. Moving on up, 1976, government halted swine flu vaccination program following report of paralysis. Oh, well, look at that. It was having some unintended negative side effects, and they actually stopped pushing it. What a concept! Instead of pushing it even harder to ensure more people got paralyzed, they stopped it. Oh my God!
A professional astrologist says you should follow the science.
We gotta follow the science. Believe the science. I'm a sellout to China, aka West Taiwan. Who was I pretending to be just now?
Tyson, and you should listen to me because I know about space.
Yeah, the only space he knows about is a vacant occupancy between his ears. So, 1976. What do we have here? We got that one. So move on up. 78. This one.
Cleveland, Ohio becomes the first post-Depression era city to default on its loans, owning $14 million to local banks.
Wow.
And
$14 million. Okay, well, you know what? 1978. Let's see here. 1978. 1,000. That's 1974. I want 8. 1978. $1 million in 1970. So it's 4,838,000. So let's see here. Let's take this number and multiply it by 14 times 14 equals $67,743,895.66 today. That's a very large chunk of change right there. So, and they defaulted, so that means that they didn't pay it. Yikes. Moving on up, we got another 78 here.
1978, Ronald Reagan denounces Jimmy Carter recognition of People's Republic of China.
Uh-huh. I think that's Communist China. I'm not sure. They both have very similar names. Kinda. Sorta. So, in which case, if he's condemning him for supporting or for recognizing the commies, then I'm all for this. Well, moving on up into 1982, the Federal Reserve announced that the operating capacity of factories has gone down to 67.8%. I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean that they're not printing as much money? If that's the case, that's a good thing. The operating capacity of factories should be 0. We should not be printing money, you know? 83, Riverside, California, judge denied cerebral palsy victim Elizabeth Boitavito request to starve herself to death in a county hospital. Well, man, she was just ahead of her time. All she had to do was come up to today's world and the government would hand her government-associated self-deletion. Or she can just go to Canada and they'll do it immediately.
Here, get in this pod.
Yeah.
Pod.
You will get into the pod, you will eat the bugs, you will have the nothing, and you will be the happy.
You will be happy.
I am Karl Schwab. The Fourth Reich is here. Oh. 1983.
I was a Nazi. Look it up.
Yes, he was. So was Arnold. Well, his dad was an SS operative. So.
Yeah.
And he was Austrian too. So you know.
Yeah.
Same country, same crap. So. 1983, a spokesperson for the rock band The Who announced the group is disbanding. Did they disband? Like, because they're still talked about. I have no idea. Oh.
I don't know.
The film The Color Purple in 1985, based on a novel by Alice Walker, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Whoopi Goldberg and Danny Glover, premiered in New York. Yeah, boo, Whoopi Goldberg, boo. Piece of crap, garbage.
Boo.
Yeah. What do we have here?
1985, John Gotti assumes leadership of the New York's Gambino crime family after ordering the executions of Paul Castellano and Thomas Bellotti.
Huh. All right. Ooh,
Okay.
We got a Kazakhstan revolt just a year after.
Revolt in Kazakhstan against Communist Party known as Zeleftosan, which becomes the first sign of ethnic strife during Gorbachev's tenure.
What accent was that?
I don't know. I was trying to do a
Soviet
Russia, you know, kind of.
No, you need to deepen the voice. Calm down. I don't know. I'm no expert on fucking accents. What the hell am I talking about?
Soviet Russia.
But yeah, from the other source to coincide with this, we have Jelkostan. Riots erupted in Alma-Ata, Kazakh SSR, in response to Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev's dismissal of ethnic Kazakh Din Muhammad Kunov, the first secretary of the Communist Party of Kazakhstan, and his replacement with Gennady Kolbin, an ethnic Russian from the Russian SFSR. So essentially, he's replacing a domestic politician with someone from, like, the ruling country, Russia. So I could see how that can cause some problems there. 1991. Speaking of Kazakhstan, what do we have here?
Independence of the Republic of Kazakhstan.
All right. So it took, 5 years? That was 86, so 91. That's about 5 years right there. And then we got some baseball here.
1991, MLB expansion club, Florida, Maryland, signed their first player, 16-year-old pitcher,
Now, there's no way you just mispronounced Marlins. You're a fisherman.
I know.
Come on, for shame.
Hey, if I misspell catfish anytime, you know there's something really wrong.
Yeah.
I don't hunt for marlins down here in Iowa, unfortunately.
True, very true.
They don't swim in our rivers.
Yeah. Hey, aren't marlins like a type of swordfish?
Yes,
Yeah.
they're the big, you know,
Yeah. So that
ocean
would be a
fish.
very strange thing to find them over there where you're at.
Yeah.
But Unmas 91.
UN reverses ruling that Zionism is racism by 111 to 25. 13 abstained votes.
Yeah, that's when you know that Israel is taken over. You know, because they're ruled by Zionists. You know, if look into the Balfour Declaration, you know, by the Rothschilds, you know, who are Zionists. The Rothschilds are the ones who control the Federal Reserve. They're the ones who had their plans. Woodrow Wilson sign over, you know, authorizing and establishing the Federal Reserve and the IRS in 1913. You know, the Balfour Declaration is from 1917, was talking about establishing a Jewish homeland of Israel in Palestine as early as 1917. And then the Holocaust happened, and then they used that as a way to get what they wanted, and makes me wonder if the Zionists are the ones behind the Holocaust to throw their own people under the bus to get what they want. But you know, yeah. Moving on up to 1993, television series MTV Unplugged broadcast American rock band Nirvana performing a mostly acoustic set in New York City. Rocker Kurt Cobain. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, mostly acoustic set in New York City. Okay. 1995, we have the official adoption of the name Euro. All right, we're finally over to pictures again. So this is when Euro.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Is that a Euro? What is that, coin or?
The denomination for the European Union. €1. You don't know the euro?
I didn't know. I know of it. I didn't know it looked so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's really nice.
Yeah, if you actually look, you know, there's the British Isles right there. There's Spain. There's Italy. There's France, and there's these ones here. The country that looks like male.
Our money used to look so beautiful.
Yeah, it did. Moving on up, 2004 actually. Back to you, good sir. In the next millennium, home stretch.
2004, NASA's Voyager 1 spacecraft is the first to cross the termination shack where solar and interstellar winds merge.
Wow. That's pretty cool. And didn't we just reestablish contact with Voyager 1 not too long ago?
Yes, we did.
Or was it 2?
I don't know. It's one that went past Pluto.
Yeah.
And we lost contact with it.
Yeah. 2010.
2010 final episode of TV talk show Larry King Live airs on CNN.
Yeah. And the good old Larry King. You know, always sitting there with his shoulders, like,
Yeah.
way up here. Dude, like, I cannot imagine, like, he must have been in any form of pain. Like, how does he sit like that? Like, I gotta, like, routinely stretch my back and my neck and shoulders back, head up, you know, posture. So, yeah. Off of main source here, 2011, the Zanagozen massacre took place, in which violent protests by oil workers occurred in Zanagozen, Kazakhstan, leading to 16 people dead and an additional 100 injured by security forces. That's not good. 2012, a gang snuggle of a woman on a bus in India that resulted in her death led to national and international outrage. As it should. It's an awful thing that happened. Disgusting. 2014, Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan militants attacked an army public school in Peshawar, Pakistan, killing 150 people, 132 of them being school children. Yikes. Jeez. That's absolutely awful. Moving on up to 2016. Here we go.
5-day pollution red alert declared in Beijing and 21 other Chinese cities, classified by officials as a meteorological disaster. Sorry.
Wow. It's pretty crazy right there.
Yeah, wow.
2018.
2018, Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Ramasinghe is sworn back into office 2 months after being removed by President Siri Sen.
Yeah, well, you know, the people are the power, and they have spoken. They want that guy back. Well, hey, some football.
2019, Drew Brees breaks Peyton Manning's NFL record 539 for career touchdown passes as New Orleans Saints rout Indianapolis Colts 34-7. Brees 29 of 30 for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns for a record 96.7 pass completion. Insane.
Woo! Damn. And do you see here the bane of everyone's existence? What? 2019, Mariah Carey single "All I Want for Christmas Is You" reached number 1 25 years after release. Holy crap! I thought it was an old song. It just came back. 25 years, a quarter of a century, and it came back from hell. It reminds me, like, many years ago, I had a fiance. Like, she lived all the way out in Oklahoma, and I was like, you know, I was on the phone with her and all that stuff, and she was in the mall in some store or whatever, and I didn't realize she had me on speakerphone. So, like, me being me, like, you know, I just called her up one day, and she was, like, Christmas shopping or something, and she answered, and I was on speakerphone, and I'm just like, "All I want for Christmas is you." And then it embarrassed her so much, like, the entire, like, I was loud. Like, I held myself back just now, but I was loud, and the entire store just, like, looked at her, and she ran. Only I could be the type of boyfriend or fiance to embarrass somebody 2,000 miles away. Freaking awesome.
No.
Moving up to 2020, China blocked imports of coal from Australia, the world's second biggest market for the world's biggest coal exporter. I remember when they did that. And that was because, like, Australia was, you know, saying China was not being nice with their Uyghur genocide and all that stuff and whatnot. And China's all like, "Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to act like a child, man." 2020 as well, a major winter storm hit the U.S. Northeast, resulting in at least 7 deaths, and Birmingham, New York, receiving a record 41 inches of snow. I used to have a tape measure up here. It doesn't appear that I have one now. 41 inches. 12, 24, 36, 48. So that's almost 4 feet. That's like this high of snow from the ground. 2020 as well, a 9-year-old girl who died of an asthma attack in 2013 became the first person in the world to officially have air pollution listed as cause of death. Oh, what a leftist propaganda bullcrap right there. Utilizing the death of a child to push their own agenda. That's absolutely reprehensible right there. Moving up, what else do we have in 2020? Oh, actually,
U.S. Major League Baseball announces this. It is elevating the Negro Leagues to Major League status.
All right. Thank you for reading it that way, by the way. I saw that word, and I'm like, oh, I hope he reads it right. Because it's negro. You got to say it with a Spanish accent, so that way you're saying a foreign word and not a potentially offensive one. Move on up 1 year later. Yikes.
2021, 6 children die in a bouncy castle accident at school in Devonport, Tasmania, Australia. Oof.
Dang. I'm going to take this next 2021 as well because there's 2 more afterwards, and I want you to take them. 2021, Super Typhoon Rai struck the Philippines' southeastern islands with winds of 195 kilometers an hour, or 120 miles per hour, killing at least 375 people. Jeez. Yikes. 2022.
Japan announces its biggest military buildup since WW2 amid concerns over China and North Korea.
Yep. And Uno Mas. This one's kind of sad.
Pokemon producers announced main man Ash Ketchum and his Pikachu will leave the anime series after 25 years.
That's really sad. Hold on a second. Is this the correct... Where is it? I have a Pokemon hatch somewhere. You've seen it, right? Is this it? Yeah, here it is. No. In honor of Ash Ketchum, I had to do this. So... Yeah. Anyway, that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar of the description below for any links that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of past events daily, we stream whenever we stream. We try to do it daily, but 11 in the morning Pacific time is when you should look for us if we're going to go live. It's 12 noon Mountain. What time Central and Eastern?
1 o'clock.
And Eastern?
2.
Yep. We do have other shows, but mainly we just do history and news right now. But, yeah, like I got something right here, a new computer. So at some point this week, gonna get that set up, and we're gonna get back into gaming, because my old 6-year rig just cannot handle games anymore. The hardware is officially antiquated. Anyway, yeah, until you catch us next time, for all of you and all of us, I am Xander.
King's Refuge.
And you, viewer, are you. And until you catch us next time, as I said, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!